Hi, everyone, and welcome to Youth Amplified,
a podcast that inspires, empowers, and connects. I'm Brian.
And I'm Ronna. And in the spotlight today, sound check. Talent versus opportunity. What's really holding our young musicians back?
We're joined around the table today by Natalie, Likhwa, Mikayla, and founder of School of Rock Macarthur and Bella Vista, Ken Martin.
Thank you for having me.
An interesting panel today. So let's get right into it. Let's kick it off. Natalie, I'm going to chuck the first one to you. Okay? Newest, so it's easiest. All right, so let's talk about raw talent. What role does raw talent play, do you think, in a musician's success? I mean, how much of it is talent, opportunity, exposure?
Speaking as someone who has practically no talent, it's not that much. You have to want it. And I have no talent. And I went to School of Rock and I was like, I just want to learn to play guitar. And they threw me on stage and I was so nervous and I did it. And since then, I have been performing as often as I can. And I really feel like so much of it is exposure, which I was helped to get through School of Rock. I truly have no talent. And I'm really trying to work for everything that I have.
And you're trying to make us believe. Try hard.
It's really not. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a stretch, to be fair. Nat works hard. And I think this is the point, is it's about building the mindset. Nat has been an amazing student in that she's actually learned a lot of the lessons along the way.
Fantastic. Likhwa, what do you think?
Yeah, just going off that and hearing that, it's like, I feel like talent can only get you so far, and it's really about the hard work that you put in, putting in the hours and, putting in the time to make, your gift even more better. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's what I guess I'd say.
Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, with what Likhwa said, I think you just need like a passion and motivation and like all that hard work to show success.
That's a good point. Well, like, what does success mean though? Right? A lot of people say, I want to be successful, but does that mean I want to sell as many records as Taylor Swift? Mm-hmm. Or does it mean I want to make a living in this business? And you've got to really pick your mark.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
That's right.
Very true.
Very true.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. Now, I'd like to think about the role of networks, right, and your relationships in the music industry. So I'd like to hear from you first, Likhwa. Have you or someone that you know faced barriers in the music industry because of perhaps not having the right networks?
Absolutely. That's the biggest barrier, I think, for most aspiring upcoming artists. It's like, where do I start? I need people to do this, Who do I start? I remember first starting out doing music and having to like catch a train to the cities to like network myself, tell people like, oh, I'm good, to get producers to pay attention and listen to my music. So yeah, I think it is quite a barrier, but yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's such a barrier for a lot of people that I personally know. I feel like I've been so lucky throughout my personal journey. But I also feel that I've built connections. It's so important to really go out and build your own connections, as you said. Like, you just have to go build them. I ended up reaching out to an artist called Lily Grace when I saw her live for the first time. And I ended up just constantly messaging her. I must have been so annoying. I was constantly messaging her. I was like, even if it wasn't music related, I was like, wow, you look so pretty, like just constantly annoying her so much. And then one day she answered me and I was like, oh my gosh. And I ended up opening for her show and it was the coolest thing I've ever done. But it's really because I like pushed for it. Like, she must have thought I was crazy.
One of the challenges I find is that what I find from my own experience is a lot of kids don't want to do that grind. Mm. Right? And then they struggle and they say, oh, why can't I do it? Well, I can tell you why. Because everybody else there is knocking on doors. You're not.
That's right.
And
on that note, I think congratulations are in order because School of Rock has just been awarded, let me get this right, You've got the Headliner Award 2024 out of 400 schools worldwide.
Correct. Yes, we went. Thank you very much. That we're very, very proud of that. We worked. The whole team worked really hard in achieving the results. We had to get the Macarthur School at that level. So we're very proud that not only the Campbelltown community has a School of Rock, but it has one of the best School of Rocks in the world.
What costs? The cost of making music. How much of a challenge is that for young artists to be able to afford studio time and, the rest of it?
What do we need studio time?
Okay.
Right. Here's the interesting thing. Yes, when I was a young musician, studio time was expensive. Now everybody's iPhone has a studio in it. You don't need studios to make music. Don't get me wrong, studios are amazing, and of course it builds on the experience. But it doesn't. It's not. It can't be the hurdle that stops you from creating music. One of the cool things, and one of the things I often tell my students is, use constraint to write music. Use the tools you have. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars going to a studio. Like if you've got something great and you've got something you can invest in, fantastic, do it.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be a barrier.
I definitely agree with Ken. Like when I first started, the reason I started producing by myself is because I didn't have the money to go to the studios. Like they were charging so much money. And I was like, okay, you know what? I still love music. Let me try this myself. So I just got on GarageBand on my little Mac, and I just started making beats, putting loops, just testing everything out. And then eventually, as you go on, you figure it out.
Yeah.
You figure it out, and then you're just like, okay, I like this. I started writing music, and then I bought a MIDI keyboard and started just producing myself. And that's how I started. Because of the constraints, music is an expensive hobby. Like, if we're being honest.
Oh, it can be.
It can be, yeah.
But some of the most beautiful music that's ever been made is because it's so raw.
Raw, yeah. And many artists have done it. I mean, look, Billie Eilish did that when she first started, just producing in her room. Steve Lacy done it on his iPhone, on his iPod. Yeah.
So for me, I just use what I have at school, and I use even with teachers. So if you can just talk to people if you can't afford things, and use that to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mentioning school, do you think you get encouragement from school and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I talk to my music teachers a lot, and I ask them for advice. And also, I have so many talented friends, and I ask them, how can I build my confidence,
I wonder if, what your thoughts are. Do young artists feel the need to sacrifice that creative freedom and to have to fit into the industry trends? So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I feel like there's so much to say on this subject, actually. I personally kind of roll with what comes to me naturally. You don't need to sacrifice what you like to do what you like as well. And so I'm currently recording my own song, and I just kind of wrote it as I went along. I just strummed a couple chords and then I just sung, and I was like, that's what came to me naturally.
I think, the whole point of music is authenticity. I think that's the whole reason we do it, is because there's a feeling inside of us that we just have to get out, and it's being ourselves. So I think personally for me, I never felt that I had to sacrifice, I guess, music, because I don't know, it's just what I did, you know what I mean? It's I just wrote what I was feeling in the moment, and it's a therapy.
There are a lot of opportunities to perform. There are a lot of programs. School of Rock is one of many programs that allows kids to perform. But in saying that, one of the biggest challenges I think that young musicians tend to think is that they have to wait for somebody to invite them to play. And I'm a firm believer, and this is something we did as well, is you create the opportunity. You book the venue, you invite 5-6 other musicians, bands, whoever, and you put on a band night, which is exactly how the Australian music industry started.
I'm going to throw a last question around the table for, if you're talking to other young musicians, what is one essential piece of goodness or advice that you would give to them from your own journey?
The number one thing that I want every musician to know is that it's not impossible. You just have to put yourself out there and really go for what you want. I thought it was impossible. I was like the number one person that I was like, yeah, how is that going to happen? And here I am trying to make it happen. Like, you just got to go for it. And then one thing that I really want people to know, like, if there was like one sentence that I wanted you to know, is that you shouldn't give up on something you think about every day.
Fantastic. Likhwa.
I think when you're starting to be an aspiring artist, I think the one thing is to be active in what you're doing. Like, be active. Go out, book your gigs, like Ken was saying, and just, I don't think any artist or any person has gotten anything without going out there. You know, they're saying closed mouths don't get fed. So, go out and do your thing if you believe in it and stick with it.
Absolutely.
Let's think of the stories that you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
The songs you're going to get out of it.
Absolutely. Mikayla, what do you say?
Don't feel scared to show off your passion or your talent at all. Like, when you want to be an artist, it's a whole learning process. Just put your time and dedication to it. And yeah.
Great. Kenny, if there's one line you had to say, what would it be?
Be prolific. Right.
Fair.
The opportunity, and I just want to elaborate on that, is when you meet somebody, they're going to say, oh, cool, show us your stuff. Right? If you've spent a year writing one song, oh, this is my song. You need to go, this is what I've written so far. It's have the catalog.
No, awesome. I mean, that's great. We are so running out of time, but we will continue this discussion in another 2 weeks with another panel talking about the same thing, because there's so many more questions that have come in. But for today, thank you, Natalie, Likhwa, Mikayla, and Kenny.
Thank you very much.
Joining us.
Thanks so much for having
Yeah,
us.
having us.
Thank you.
Till next fortnight, let's continue to inspire, empower, and connect. And remember, your voice matters.